So pretty much this is the list I went with at locals, which was a 5-round locals. My matchups were against Malice, Live Twin, which was interesting. Odeon, a Dragon Ruler build alongside a Shadal Pure deck, which was kind of surprising. And I actually would end up playing against my my Odeon opponent again because there was just a weird situation where we had a lot of ties. There was no undefeateds by that point. But altogether, the list is still pretty good. I really wouldn't change anything outside of maybe a couple extra deck changes if I'm ever going first. But yeah, with that in mind, let's get into this. For the main deck, we are playing the Ever So Faithful 3 Goldio, pretty much one of the most broken starters you could ever have with this deck, especially with the secondary effect of adding a card that's been sent to grave. A lot of people overlook that, and when you pair that with Kaleido Chick, you just recur resources back, so always a mandatory 3 of. We then play the 2 Kaleido Chick, pretty much a card everyone underestimates with the fact that it's a cost to send from extra deck or deck a Lunalight monster. I've had so many ruling discrepancies, especially with players who have never seen this Lunalight card because some players never played during like the Zodiac era when this card was around, or during Orcus Lunalight. So again, a lot of people just they were really confused about this. They don't realize it was a cost, how to like get some judge ruling in to verify it. But yeah, this is a card that people just, if you can stop it or get rid of it, get rid of it. If not, it's gonna really just start branching some of your combos together. We then play the 2 Silverhound, another broken card as a whole. Just sending this off either Foolish Burial or just getting it discarded off of something like Golio makes so many of your plays go live, especially if you pair this together with Tribal Fractile and also being a spell and trap negate. I mean, something like that, like if it wasn't already bad enough, or good enough, you already got a boss monster in the form of Liger Dancer. Just having this as a backup plan for dealing problematic spells and traps like Evenly Match or Herald of the Abyss, just further helps solidify your end board. We then play the 2 Lunalight Wolves. Some builds play 3 of these, or not Wolves, Black Sheep, I apologize. Some of these builds will play 3 copies. I'm on the belief 2 are just fine. Usually one of these are just going for polymerization. The other times you're using the second one to either recur back maybe one of your pendulums, either Wolf, Lunalight Wolf, or Tiger. So again, you can play around with this, but I like 2. Speaking of Tiger, we play 2 of them. Don't think I really will change anything about Tiger being at 2 copies. I've seen people play 3, some will play 1. The ratios go back and forth, but I want to see at least 2 copies of these because if you open hand with this and you have like multiple extenders or starters, this just is like butter on the, it's so powerful for what it does. Just being able to recur bodies back. It's a soft once per turn, so you can basically just get so much recursion back with different bodies for either rank 4 or link plays, and just set up your fusion plays so much easier for. So we're gonna play. So we play 2 of her. We then play for the last of our Lunalights, the 1 Yellow Martin, the 1 Wolf. Yellow Martin, I've seen people go back and forth on playing 2 copies of her. I kind of find her just being good at 1. Sometimes there's just those dead hands where if you see her, you kind of don't want to have her in your hand. It's not impossible to get rid of her, but in case you don't have any real discard outlets for her, then it just, again, it has a lot of issues sometimes. Not really problematic, I would say, as like, she's a dead brick. Like you can still use her even in hand, but it's more preferable if she's in deck. And Wolf was in there if in case we can't get Lunalight Masquerade going off, or if we can't get Lunalight Fusion going off. But we still play the 1 of, because if you exhausted your resources with either using Poly or Lunalight Fusion, this is your 3rd alternative to Fusion Summon. And then the last card in our lineup is going to be Tribal Fractile, a free 1 of. If you search this off of 5 Formation Tenki, he can get either be a combo extender, or he can just be a one card starter. Seen a debate about playing possibly 2 of these, maybe even 3, because you've just played Tenki so much. But again, we're only just doing the 1 of. I like him at 1. Don't really see a reason to play him at multiples. So going into the monsters, the spells. We are playing 3 Masquerade. I've even seen builds where people play 1 of these. I don't see a reason not to play 3 of these. This is just a free extender. It makes your polymerization and Miracle Fusion. So again, don't really see a reason to play less of these. You could probably play 2 if you really wanted to, but we're going to play 3. We then play 2 Lunalight Perfume. Kind of was playing going back and forth originally with the idea of playing 3 of them. 3 copies don't really come up enough times. You're really just trying to use this as a means of just getting either sometimes to Tiger, maybe even Wolf on occasion, because there are points where if I already got Lunalight Wolf, or not Wolf, but Lunalight Tiger in hand, I would either use this to search Wolf, or I would try to go and get Black Sheep even on occasion. But I find 2 is just enough for the situation. Then we play the 3 Fire for Mission Tankies. You're playing all Beast Warriors. There's no reason you should play less than 3. Maybe you want to play 2 for extra deck space for other tech cards. But yeah, we're going to play 3 of these. We then play 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Could be an extender, could be a play starter. If you send this off or use this to send off either your Perfume or your Serenade Dance, you just essentially go full combo from there. Have seen people play with 3, but I don't think this card comes up enough times where 3 is necessary. Again, depends on just what your ratios are for your other extenders or starters, but I find 2 is still suitable enough as it is. For the last of the spells, we play the 1 Poly, the 1 Lunalight Fusion. Don't really have to explain it. These 2 are kind of really necessary. Poly especially. I've seen builds where people were cutting out the Lunalight Fusion, but it still is necessary under situations where if I get hit by Lancia and I have no way of recurring back my Poly, this is the alternative to being able to go into Liger Dancer sometimes. And remember, you guys, you can still use a material from deck if your opponent has some kind of extra deck monster on the field. So do keep this in mind, because some people do forget about that effect. Last of the trap, or really last of the Lunalight support, is Lunalight Serenade Dance. Technically a brick, but the deck has a large number of ways of how you can discard. So discard this off of Perfume. By the way, I would still just go ahead and play this guy no matter what, just because it can be a good overall extender. You're not going to use it like a traditional trap card. It's literally just to be discarded off of. So play the 1 of. For the non-engine, kind of self-explanatory in this situation. We play the 3 Chummies with in terms of Fualos, 3 Ash, 3 Joel, 3 Bestials. I kind of actually got inspired by the from the NAWCQ, because a lot of the top cut builds of Lunalight were playing this in the main deck. And the fact is, I kind of do agree upon with where their thought process came. Fiendsmith is still around. We still have Malice around. In the future, we're also going to still be getting, Draco Tail and everything else, where possibly whether or not these stay in the main deck, because if they actually hurt those other new decks coming out of Justice Hunters, is, I'm going to still go back and forth, but more than likely, these could either go into the side more than anything. 3 Dominus Impulse. I mean, if you can play just pure, mostly an all pure dark deck, I mean, you should play Impulse. It's too free not to play it in general, just because it covers so many avenues for decks that like to special summon a lot by effects. So being able to have this and whether it be opening hand or even just setting it or just still playing it in turn 2 or turn 3. This card just comes up too many times for you not to play it. So that is it for the main deck. Going into the extra deck, we play the 2 Liger Dancer, the Boogeyman boss monster of this deck that everyone and their mom is trying to out, just because it is very hard to out her if you do not either have a kaiju-like effect or if you do not have some kind of card effect that affects the player, like Evenly Match, Herald of the Abyss, or Daruma Karma Cannon. This is going to be the nightmare fuel for a lot of players. We then play the 2 Lunalight Perfume Dancer, just an extender and just an overall body to search that Lunalight Perfume, as it's not technically a Lunalight monster, or not monster, but a Lunalight spell. As many of you saw, it has the weird space in the middle, so by Konami's wordplay, you can't search it by other means. She's necessary. I don't always see her coming up in terms of playing 2 copies. If anything, I'm sending off 1 extra copy, either via Kaleido Chick or even Liger Dancer for her effect. But there has at least been the case where if I needed to go into a second one, I could. So we still play her at 2. And from there, we play 3 Lunalight Leo Dancer. I know so many people are going to try to play 2 copies of this. I am on the belief you want to play 3, and that is just because Kashtiras still exist. You still have Malice that exists. You still have the Bistils that exist. Actually, during my second duel against my Odeon opponent during my locals, he Bistialed two of my Leo Dancers. I just so happened to have the 3rd one, and I was still able to make Liger Dancer. Hence the reason why I am on the belief you want to play 3, just to avoid those scenarios where your opponents are going to try to rip apart these copies to prevent you to getting from Liger Dancer. Because if they can't stop Liger Dancer, they're going to just try to stop you as much as they can to get to Liger Dancer. So we do play 3 of those. And the last fusion is Lunalight Saber Dancer. Never really making this scroll at all. I mean, you technically can. It only takes 3 Lunalights. You're only just really using her as a means of dumping off of Liger Dancer just to gain a 3,000 plus attack boost and just swing for game. So that's it for all the fusions. We then play 4 XCs, the 1 Baguska, the 1 Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King, the 1 number 60 Dugaris, and then the 1 Infernal Flame Banshee. I don't have to really explain Baguska. He's part of your M board, so he is still very much necessary. Tiger King, mint act as a searcher for your Fire Formation Tenki, and technically you can kind of use this as a semi-board breaker, in a sense that if you detach material from him, he can negate all the effects of monsters on your field besides Beast Warriors, so he does have that. Dugaris, either you really are playing him just for either card advantage, or even if you want to do more damage because you don't have Saber Dancer available, then you can at least use this on some of your other monsters outside of Liger Dancer, because I actually did at one point have to boost the attack of my Perfume Dancer to finish off my Malice Live Twin opponent for game. So yeah, he still comes up. Infernal Flame Banshee, if you see this, and I'm pretty sure Konami is going to ban this card at some point, it's for Protoss Lock, call Lights, call Darks, call whatever. This deck can easily make it, so yeah, we play her because I've had good enough hands where if I can make both Baguska and Banshee to get to Protoss, I am just basically winning from there. So yeah, from there we then play our links, which is going to then be the 1 Almirage, the 1 Cross Sheep, and the 1 SP. Don't really see a problem with these 3. They all come in use on different occasions. I have contemplated playing the new Gorgon Link 3 monster that came out of Duelist Advance, just because the deck can still do it, can still utilize it, because it can still make enough bodies to where I can have a mini zone lock with the Gorgon. But I still like this ratio as a whole. If anything, I'd probably end up cutting the Dugaris to play the Link 3 Gorgon. But for now, we do sit on all 3 of these links. For the side deck, we are playing the 3 Lancia. Malice exists, so we can't really do nothing about that. You have to play this. And Orcus as well, you do have to play this as well. Protoss package, really, if the deck can make it, you can make it. I kind of had so many situations where people will pretty much stop Liger Dancer, and if I still have at least 2 level 4 bodies, just make this, call Darks or Lights or whichever, and pretty much win from there. In most situations, we then play the 3 Forbidden Droplet. I mean, you have a lot of cards you can send off with card effect that get card effects being sent to grave. So stop certain other boss monsters or problem monsters. I mean, not the best board breaker of this format, but still good enough for this deck. And then we play 1 Lightning Storm, the 1 Duster, 1 Heavy Polymerization, the 1 Triple Tactics Talents, and the 1 Called By. Probably would want to play Thrust, and I'll show you the last 2 cards I'm playing, which would probably get swapped out for Triple Tactics Thrust. But I mean, we need these 2 for back row hate, no matter what. Heavy Poly, this is acting as a going second card just to be able to break through boards, because if you can make an early Liger Dancer, that throws your opponent into a bind now, knowing that now they have an unbeatable boss monster, and the possibility of you still making possibly a second one later on in your turn is there. Have only used it once. My opponent negated it, but I purposely did that as a means of just being able to get a negate off, which I believe was the Sylvia Fusion negate for White Forest. So yeah, play the 1 of. But again, if I do get custom copies of Thrust in, I will be playing probably maybe 1 more copy of this. Talents. If you see it, you see it. Again, Thrust comes into play with this card, so take away your opponent's resources by taking a body or drawing more cards, or even just whatever, or even hand ripping them. Again, you can't really go wrong with Thrust. Called By. Lancia exists. Droll exists, which can kind of hurt us a lot, so we still play it. And then for last of the cards, we play just 2 Solemn Judgment. Back row cards like these don't really aren't really the strongest in this deck. It's mostly because sometimes your back row can get filled up real quickly, either because of both your Pendulum Zones, and you'll always have like maybe at least 2 continuous spells going with Masquerade or Tenki. Only had this come up like twice, and every time they did come up, my opponents were not ready for it because they were so focused on Liger Dancer. Like there's no way of explaining just how problematic Liger Dancer is as a card, where even if you do protect against the destruction effect, it's still a 38 body that is staring you down that can attack twice and is unaffected by everything that is not either a player affected card or kaiju. But yeah, we do play the 2 of. But again, if I wanted to play the Thrust, which I probably plan on doing in the future, probably cut these 2 out to play the Thrust, and maybe try to somewhere fit in an extra copy of Heavy Polymerization. But that's going to be it, you guys. Hope you enjoyed the overall deck profile. All I have to say about the deck as a whole, it's going to be a deck that you probably have to get used to the combo lines, because there's no there are your direct combo lines, but there's nothing I can say is the best line. Honestly, you may have lines where you make a full board of Baguska, SP, and Liger, but there may just be your board, so you end on just Baguska. But I hope to see you guys again.